This is a story about the Woodentops. There was Mummy Woodentop and the baby, and Daddy Woodentop. Then there were Willie and Jenny the twins, and Mrs. Scrubbit, who comes to help Mummy Woodentop, and Sam, who helps Daddy Woodentop, and last of all, the very biggest spotty dog you ever did see. And they all lived together in a little house in the country. One day, the children, Willie and Jenny, had been out in the field with Sam. They had been helping him to toss some hay for the animals. Cows and pigs and horses like hay. Nearby, Dobbin was picking out the kind of grass he liked best, and every now and then he took a little hay, just for a change. And each time he did so, Sam drove him off.
No, Dobbin, you be off. You got plenty of good fresh grass all round you, so you leave my hay alone. Go along now, be off.
Be off with you, Dobbin. Be off, Dobbin.
Horses, give 'em fresh grass and they want hay. Give 'em hay and they want grass.
Sam, tell us about your uncle's horse that went so slowly you could hardly see him move.
Oh, yes, Sam. You tell such lovely stories.
But you know that story. Heard it dozens of times.
Oh, but tell us again, Sam.
Yes, do.
Oh, all right. I can feel you there.
Oh,
Dobbin.
Dobbin. Go on, Sam.
Well, I don't know if this is a true story, but it's what my Uncle John told me. He used to work on a farm a long way away from here. Ploughman he was. Used to get the fields all ready every year for planting seed. And an old horse...
Called Bob.
Yeah, he used to pull the plough.
Do ploughs go fast, Sam?
Well, this one didn't, especially with Bob pulling it. He just went as slow as he could. Stop tickling me. The old Bob, you know, he never went fast at the best of times. But show him a plough, and he'd creep along so you couldn't tell he was moving hardly.
Oh, Dobbin!
He's not eating the straw. Let him stay. He wants to hear the story. Don't you, Dobbin?
All right, then.
Go on, Sam, go on.
All right, well, one day, my Uncle John was just standing holding the handles of his plough because old Bob was stopping to think things over for a bit when he saw a field mouse run up Bob's leg, over his shoulder, and sit on his back, just by the saddle. Oh!
Dobbin, you made me jump.
Me too. Sounded as if he was laughing. Well, my Uncle John, he laughed too. And before you could say knife, up came another mouse and sat down beside the first one. And they began to talk to each other.
Mice can't talk.
Well, my Uncle John thought they could. He got so as he could understand them in time.
And the mice came again, didn't they, Sam? Every day?
Yes, every day. Every day at the same place, old Bob would creep along so slowly that the two mice had plenty of time to run up his leg and sit down for a little chat and a nice ride up the field and back.
Your Uncle John liked the mice to come, didn't he, Sam?
Yes, he did. Oh, he's breathing down my neck again.
Dobbin.
You know, you get sort of lonely sometimes out in the fields all by yourself. Some men talk to their horses. But it wasn't much use talking to old Bob, because he was asleep half his time.
Dobbin, isn't he funny when he laughs?
Yeah.
What happened then, Sam?
Well, one day, when they came to the place where the mice got on, as you might say, only one of them came running up. Uncle John waited, and the mouse waited, and old Bob, he waited. That was easy for him, because he'd gone to sleep. Well, after a time, there was a little squeak somewhere down by Bob's foot. And there was the second mouse, calling out to her friend.
What did she say, Sam?
Oh, you know what she said. She said, I can't come for a ride up the field today, 'cause I'm in a hurry, so...
I'm going to walk.
Ah.
Fancy a mouse going faster than a horse.
Hello? Where's Dobbin? Hey, Dobbin. Dobbin, come here, lad.
What's the matter, Sam?
Well, Dobbin, he's lame.
Oh.
Must have lost a shoe. Here, boy, let's have a look.
Oh, Dobbin.
Come on, lift it up,
What's
boy.
the matter, Sam?
Come on, up, up. Oh dear, what a nuisance. Here, you young'uns run up to Daddy Woodentop and tell him that I'll have to take Dobbin over to the blacksmith's.
Oh, Sam, may we come too?
Yes, if you like.
Oh, God.
I'll just fix it up good enough to get there. Hurry up now. You're slower than my Uncle John's horse.
Quick, let's go and look for Daddy Woodentop.
I know where he is, Willie.
Well, let's hurry. Oh, look, there he is. Daddy.
Daddy.
Daddy Woodentop.
Daddy Woodentop.
Daddy. Ooh.
Daddy.
So Sam fixed Dobbin's shoe on well enough for him to walk into the village to see the blacksmith. And by the time the twins got back, he'd nearly finished.
Oh, there you are. Nearly ready.
Does it hurt him, Sam?
No, not a bit. Quiet now, boy. Oh, he just wonders why he's got to stand still, that's all. Steady there. Steady, boy.
Whoa there, Dobbin. Good boy.
Does he know he's going to have a new shoe, Sam?
Well, I don't know about that, but he'll soon know when he gets it.
Why does he have to have a new shoe?
Oh, he's lost a nail. Look, that one there.
Oh, yes.
So the shoe's loose. It's worn, too. Look.
So it is. Do all horses have to have shoes, Sam?
Oh, no. No, not little uns. They only run about in the fields and play on the grass. That's soft, you see, and doesn't hurt their feet. But when they have to walk on rough ground or go on the roads like Dobbin, they need iron shoes.
And if they didn't have iron shoes and had to walk over stones, they'd hurt their feet, wouldn't they, Sam?
Yes, my dear, they would.
Then they couldn't walk properly.
I'd rather be a little horse and run about in the fields without any shoes at all. Like in the song. Shoe the little horse and shoe the little mare and let the little colt run bare, bare, bare. Shoe the little horse and shoe the little mare and let the little colt run bare, bare, bare. What's a colt, Sam?
A colt? Well, it's just another name for a baby horse. Now, we're all ready.
Come on, Dobbin. Gee up, Dobbin.
Gee up, Dobbin.
Gee up.
Shoe the little horse and shoe the little mare.
So off they went to the blacksmith's, and they'd hardly got as far as the lane before Spotty Dog came rushing along. When he saw no one, he was quite surprised, and he was rather cross to think they'd all gone off without him. So he sat down on the grass and lifted up his head and began to howl. He went on howling until suddenly he saw Mummy Woodentop putting Baby down on the grass. And he came running up to her. And she said, "Spotty, whatever's the matter?" Oh, poor Spotty. Did they go off and leave you? Never mind. You stay here and look after Baby for me. There you are. Now, don't let him crawl away, Spotty. I shan't be long. Be a good boy. So Mummy Woodentop went away again, and Baby Woodentop began to shuffle after Spotty. And then Spotty pretended to hide and went behind the box. He was really playing peep-bo with the baby, but he had to bark because he couldn't say peep-bo. Then baby Woodentop thought he'd like to hide, and he started off as fast as he could go. But Spotty ran round and stopped him from going too far. So the baby turned another way. But it didn't matter which way he turned, Spotty Dog was always there to stop him from getting lost. Mummy Woodentop had come out to see what all the noise was about. And when she saw how happy they were, she went away. Spotty Dog thought it was time to have a rest, so he sat down and began to sing to the baby in a doggy sort of voice. And this is what he sang. There was a poor dog and they left him alone. They didn't so much as leave him a bone. Poor Spotty Dog, poor Spotty Dog. They all went away and left him alone. When Mummy Woodentop came back, she said, "Thank you for looking after baby Spotty. You're a very good dog." And she sat down and sang too.
There was a poor dog and they left him alone. They didn't so much as leave him a bone. Poor Spotty Dog, poor Spotty Dog. They all went away and left him alone.
Then Mummy Woodentop stayed and played with baby and Spotty. "I can see you, baby. There you are. There's baby Woodentop. Cooey, baby. Beep, boo. Beep, boo. Beep, boo. And while they were playing, they heard tramp, tramp, tramp. And there was Dobbin with the children riding on his back.
Here we are. Here we are. We rode all the way back from the blacksmith's.
How did you get on?
We had a lovely time. Sam lifted us up.
Where is Sam?
He's just coming. He's talking to Daddy.
We can't turn round because Sam said we weren't to move.
In case we fell off.
One day soon, Daddy Woodentop is going to teach you how to ride.
Both of us?
Yes, of course. I expect baby will want to learn too.
He's too little.
And there we must leave them. Willie and Jenny riding on Dobbin, Mummy Woodentop watching, and Spotty still looking after the baby. Goodbye, Woodentops. Until next time.
Hello, children. Are you ready to look at the picture book? I wonder what we shall have today. Oh, hello, Sausage. What a splendid coat you have on. Is it new? But why do you wear it indoors?
Don't look pretty.
And it does look very pretty, Sausage. Now you sit still and be good, because we're going to look at the picture book. Oh, this is the page that shows me how to make something, and it's paper lanterns. I have the things to make paper lanterns here. Piece of pretty wallpaper, glue, pencil, and of course, a pair of scissors. The paper must be the right shape. It must be an oblong, like this. Oh, but I'm going to need a ruler in a minute, and I haven't got a ruler.
Fetch a ruler, fetch a ruler.
Oh, thank you very much, Sausage. Isn't he a useful little dog? He's going to fetch the ruler. Well, while we're waiting for him, we'll fold the paper over. I'm going to fold it so that this long edge here touches this long edge here. Like this. Fold it in two. Press it over with my fingers so that there's a crease. Oh, thank you, Sausage. Like that. It's a good dog. Thank you very much. Sausage, whatever's the matter?
Lab coat.
Oh, yes, I know you've got a new coat, and it's very pretty indeed. Oh, it is. Now, you be quiet, because look, you'll get glue all over your new coat if you're not very careful. So now we've got the ruler, we'll draw a straight line near the top edge. Not this folded edge here, but this open edge. Put the ruler on the paper and draw a straight line along the top of it with the pencil. Like that. Now with the scissors, I'm going to cut slits up to the pencil line. Straight cut. And there's one slit. And there's another. And another slit up to the pencil line. Now you would go on cutting those slits all along the paper. But there isn't time for me to do that, so I have paper here already cut with all the slits. And look, this is what it looks like. Something like a comb, isn't it? Or a little girl's fringe. Next thing I do is to open the paper out, like this. Unfold it. I must do this very carefully because I don't want to tear it. Yeah? Open it out. And now it's flat. Now I'm going to stick this corner on top of this corner here. So with the glue, I'll put a little blob there, a little blob of glue on that corner like that. And press the two corners together with my fingers. There we are. And now I do the same thing at the other end. A little blob of glue and press the two corners together, pressing them hard together with my fingers. It may take a little while for the glue to dry. There we are. You could use sticky tape to stick these corners together if you liked. And there. It's beginning to look like a lantern, isn't it? But there's one more thing to go on it, isn't there? And that's a handle. And here's a strip of paper already cut to be the handle. I'm going to pin this on because the glue would take a little while to dry. So I'll pin it on this side first. If you pin yours, be very careful you don't stick the pin in your finger, won't you? Perhaps you could ask somebody to help you to do this part. That's one side, and now we'll do the other side of the handle. Pin it on. There we are. There's a pretty little lantern. I have some more here. Look, here's a tiny baby lantern. Do you like that one? Look, Sausage. Ooh. Stand it up on its end, like that. Sausage, I think Sausage thinks it's a toy, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
I think I better put it over here. There we are. And here's a lovely big one made with very pretty wallpaper. There. But you could do them in plain paper or just colored paper. Do you think you could make a paper lantern like that? Perhaps next time when it rains and you can't go out, you could try to make one. Now we'll have a look at the next page. Oh, this is a picture of a little girl. Do you know what her name is? I'm going to call her Busy Lizzie.
If you haven't seen Busy Lizzie before, you won't know that that big flower on her frock is a wishing flower. She has only to touch it and wish for something, and hey presto, there it is. She can wish for 1, 2, 3, even 4 things at a time, but not 5. If she forgets and wishes for more than 4 things, everything flies away. Do you see that Busy Lizzie has straight, wispy hair? She doesn't like it, and one day she tried to change it. She touched that very special flower and said, "I wish I had long, lovely, curly hair." Well, what do you think of that? Then, of course, she wanted to see what she looked like. So once more she touched the flower and said, "I wish I had a little looking glass." But although Busy Lizzie liked her new curls, she thought they weren't nearly long enough. So once more she touched her flower and said, "I wish my curls to grow longer and longer." That was a silly thing to wish. The curls grew and grew and grew. First they reached her knees, and then her feet, and then began to pile up behind her. Now, all that hair was very heavy, so she had to wish for something else. And what do you think it was? She wished for a cart to carry her curls. Well, at first she was very pleased. She walked along, pulling her curls behind her, but they were still very heavy. Besides, they went on growing. When Busy Lizzie found that she could hardly pull the cart along, she called out, "I wish my curls would stop growing." But look what happened. There she is, exactly the same as she was before, wispy hair and all. And do you know why? Because she had wished for more than 4 things at once. Did you count?
Isn't she funny? I like little girls with wispy hair. Shall we turn over? It's a picture of little chicks, all fluffy and soft. Look at their bright little eyes. You just look at them for a moment while I fetch something very exciting. Chicks like eating grain. I'll see if they'll have some. Come on. Come on. Yeah. Come on. I wonder if they'll have some water to drink. Here. Come on, you try the water. There. They're such a pretty yellow colour. No, they don't want any water. Let's try some more grain over here. Come on. You have some. Can you hear the noise they're making? Oh, look, he's having a lovely drink. Yes, are you drinking? Aren't they pretty? Well, I think I better look at the next page in the picture book before I put them away, don't you? Oh, yes. It's another story about the Jolly Jack Tars.
But where are they? This is the island they saw last time. And there's their ship, look. What funny-looking trees. That big one looks like a bottle with a feather duster sticking out of the top.
Oh, that was a stiff climb. Oh, I must have a rest. Ah, I'll sit down here. Oh, that's better. Oh, dear me, yes. Oh, dear. Oh, it's so hot, and we seem to have walked for miles. I'll just sit down by the captain.
I'm so tired.
Poor things, they do look hot. I hope they won't be disappointed when they wake up, because I don't think this is the Talking Horse Island. It looks to me as if it might be called Bottle Island.
Whatever was that? It sounded like a bell. But where did it come from?
Where did what come from?
Didn't you hear a noise?
No, did you?
Perhaps we were dreaming. Or perhaps we were. We weren't dreaming. Oh, it's Ticky banging that tree. Oh, listen, Mr. Mate. Oh, I'll try another tree. Oh, let's play a tune. Me first. Oh, no, me first, because I'm the captain. Well, that was very nice, but I think it's time we were getting back to the ship. Oh, come along, Jonathan. Wake up. We're going.
Oh, I dreamt I was in a funny place where all the trees were like bottles. Why, so they are. Ticky, look, trees like bottles. But in my dream they all made noises. Oh!
Ticky, Jonathan.
Coming, Captain.
What a funny place. Bottle Island. I'm glad we saw it, even if it wasn't the one with the talking horse.
I wonder where they'll be next time. Is that your sausage? No, I haven't forgotten it this time. It's that mustard and cress. Sausage, you've been eating it. Oh, sausage, now look, you'll be dropping it all over the place. Now, take it away this minute. Sausage, you're a very naughty little dog. Go on, you take it away. Off you go. Look, here it is. He hasn't taken very much of it, really, has he? But then he's not very big yet. Perhaps we'll have some for our tea. Have you grown any mustard and cress yet? It's time to put the picture book away now. Goodbye. Until next time.
Andy Pandy's playing in his house today. There he is, in his rocking chair. Hello, Andy Pandy. Is Teddy coming? That must be Teddy at the door. Look, Andy Pandy's hiding from him. He's stooping down behind the screen.
Knock at the door. Who's there? Who's there? Who can it be?
Hello, Teddy. I wonder where Andy is. Whatever's that, Teddy? The screen moved. There it goes again. Teddy, what do you think it could be? We know what it is, don't we, children? Look at him hiding his head. Teddy, don't be frightened. It's only Andy Pandy. Look, here he is. Andy, let's play with the children. You begin, and whatever you do, Teddy can try to do the same. Then the children can play too. Ready? Come along, Andy Pandy.
Andy goes down, isn't he small? Andy stands up, isn't he tall? Andy goes down, isn't he small? Andy stands up, isn't he tall? Andy goes down, isn't he small? Andy stands up, isn't he tall? Andy goes down, isn't he small? Andy stands up, isn't he tall?
Were the children doing it too, Andy? Good. Oh, but Teddy's shaking his head. Perhaps the teddy bears watching weren't making themselves tall. Well, we'd better play that again. And if anyone has a teddy bear, make him play too, won't you? Begin by going down.
Andy goes down, isn't he small? Andy stands up, isn't he tall? Andy goes down, isn't he small? Andy stands up, isn't he tall? Andy goes down, isn't he small? Andy stands up, isn't he tall? Andy goes down, isn't he small? Andy stands up, isn't he tall?
Let's do something else now. I believe Andy and Teddy have some toys to show you. Look, Andy has 2 elephants and Teddy has 2 kangaroos. Let's have a good look at them. Andy's going to have a ride on the elephants, and Teddy's going to push the kangaroos along. They're like Noah's Ark animals, aren't they? Going in 2 by 2. There's a song all about that. You listen.
The animals went in 2 by 2, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in 2 by 2, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in 2 by 2, the elephant and the kangaroo, and they all went into the ark for to get out of the rain.
Children, are you going to shout hurrah with Andy and Teddy this time? Put up your hand as if you were waving and shout hurrah, hurrah. I'm sure you could say it much louder than that. You try. Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. Yes, that was much better. Here's the song again.
The animals went in 2 by 2, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in 2 by 2, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in 2 by 2, the elephant and the kangaroo, and they all went into the ark for to get out of the rain.
Let's do it again. And this time really shout out, hurrah, hurrah. Here we go.
The animals went in 2 by 2, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in 2 by 2, hurrah, hurrah. The animals went in 2 by 2, the elephant and the kangaroo, and they all went into the ark for to get out of the rain.
Let's go and see where Looby Loo is while they're putting the animals away. There she is, already sitting at the tea table. And here come the others. Andy Pandy, haven't you forgotten something? Oh, yes, you have. Everything's on the table, but have you got clean hands for tea? Better have a look. Are Teddy's paws clean? Teddy, I'm sure they're not. What about Andy Pandy? You'd better go and wash both hands and paws. And make sure you wipe them dry. I wonder if Looby-Loo is going to play with us today. She often does. Are you going to call her? Looby, Looby-Loo. Hello, Looby-Loo. Are you waving to her, children? You do look nice, Looby-Loo, with the red ribbons in your hair. Are your hands clean? They are. Well, that's a good thing. Shall we have a nursery rhyme while we're waiting for Andy and Teddy? There is one about tea time. It's Polly Put the Kettle On. Do you know it? Here comes the music.
Polly put the kettle on, Polly put the kettle on, Polly put the kettle on, we'll all have tea. Suki, take it off again, Suki, take it off again, Suki, take it off again, they've all gone away.
That was rather nice. Let's have it again, Looby-Loo. And children, you pretend to put the kettle on, and mind you don't forget to take that kettle off again.
Polly put the kettle on, Polly put the kettle on, Polly put the kettle on, we'll all have tea. Suki, take it off again, Suki, take it off again, Suki, take it off again, they've all gone away.
Now come along, everybody. Pick up that pretend kettle and we'll do it once more. And remember, pretend to put it down at the end of the song.
Polly put the kettle on, Polly put the kettle on, Polly put the kettle on, we'll all have tea. Suki, take it off again, Suki, take it off again, Suki, take it off again, they've all gone away.
All gone away. Andy Pandy and Teddy seem to have gone away too. They're such a long time. They should be coming back soon, so you'd better sit down on your chair again, Looby-Loo, or the others will see you. Andy and Teddy never find her playing with us, do they? Wouldn't they be surprised if they knew? But it's still our secret, isn't it? But we must go and see what they're doing all this time. Here they are, and they're washing their hands. I think Andy Pandy's nearly finished. Oh, Andy, shaking the water on the floor. Dry your hands on the towel. What about you, Teddy? Oh, yes, your paws are clean. And I'm glad you remembered to put your feeder on. Come along, Andy and Teddy. Hurry up, Looby is waiting for you. There, now we're all ready for tea. Sit down, Teddy. Hurry up, Looby's waiting to begin. Now, Andy Pandy, jellies, sandwiches, cakes and honey. This really is just like a tea party. What about Looby-Loo? She hasn't anything to eat. That's right, Andy. Look after her. Teddy, what are you doing? Get down and sit on your chair. That's better. Andy Pandy's having his own tea, now that he's made sure that Looby-Loo has something to eat. I wonder what he likes best, jellies or honey. Teddy, you really mustn't get on the tea table. Come down at once. Who ever heard of anyone standing on the table? Have you had enough, Andy Pandy? I know Teddy has. Oh, Teddy, yes, you have. You look half asleep. Let's leave him, Andy Pandy. He won't wake if we creep away, and then we can play Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush. That's a good game for a party. Children, You watch Andy Pandy and do what he does. And you could sing it too.
Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush on a cold and frosty morning. This is the way we wash our hands, wash our hands, wash our hands. This is the way we wash our hands on a cold and frosty morning. This is the way we brush our clothes, brush our clothes, brush our clothes. This is the way we brush our clothes on a cold and frosty morning. Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush on a cold and frosty morning.
Shall we play that again? But listen carefully, because this time some of the words will be different. Is everybody ready?
Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush on a cold and frosty morning. This is the way we wash our hands, wash our hands, wash our hands. This is the way we wash our hands on a cold and frosty morning. This is the way we brush our shoes, brush our shoes, brush our shoes. This is the way we brush our shoes on a cold and frosty morning. Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush on a cold and frosty morning.
And here's Teddy. Oh, he's had a nice sleep and is just in time to play Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush once more. Ready? Here we go.
Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush on a cold and frosty morning. This is the way we wash our hands, wash our hands, wash our hands. This is the way we wash our hands on a cold and frosty morning. This is the way we brush our clothes, brush our clothes, brush our clothes. This is the way we brush our clothes on a cold and frosty morning. Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush on a cold and frosty morning.
It's time to stop now, Andy Pandy. Say goodbye until next time. Goodbye, Andy. Goodbye, Teddy. Goodbye.
Time to stop play, just for today. Andy and Teddy must now go away. Time to stop play, just for today. Andy is waving goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
It was another quiet morning in Festive Road. At number 52, Mr. Benn thought he heard some laughter, and he looked out of his window. He saw Karen juggling with 3 balls. A boy balancing. Then he saw the group of children who were laughing. In the middle was Julian, wearing a funny mask. Mr. Benn watched for a while and then decided to go for a walk. Mr. Benn was on his way to the special costume shop, the shop which adventures could start from. Inside the shop, he stood and looked at the strange costumes and at once saw the one that made him laugh. As if by magic, the shopkeeper appeared. "Good morning," he said. "Would you like to try on the clown suit, sir?" Mr. Benn said that he would love to, and taking the clown's clothes, he went to the door in the corner of the shop, the door of the fitting room. Once in the room, he changed from his own clothes He didn't spend a long time looking at himself, but turned to the other door of the fitting room, the one which could lead to adventures. Mr. Benn walked through the door, wondering if he would come into a circus ring. To his surprise, he found himself in an open landscape, beside a little car. He knew at once that the car was for him. It could only be a clown's car. Before long, Mr. Benn was driving the car gently along the road. Everything was going very smoothly until Mr. Benn was about to go round a bend. Then the car started to behave very oddly. At the same time, Mr. Benn could see a long line of trucks parked along the road in front of him, brightly painted circus trucks. There was just room for the clown's car to drive past. At the front of the queue of trucks stood all the circus people with their backs to Mr. Benn. The little car made such a din that everybody turned to look. The car stopped with a bang. And Mr. Benn fell out. Everybody laughed. They made Mr. Benn feel quite welcome, and they asked him to help them with the circus for a while. "If we ever get to the next town," said a voice, and everybody became quiet again and turned to look the other way. For the first time, Mr. Benn saw why they were all stopped. A bridge they should have crossed had fallen down, and they couldn't go on. The circus folk were beginning to argue about the bridge. The strong man wanted to fill the gap with huge stones. The others told him it would only stop the river flowing. The tightrope walker wanted to put a rope across and balance everything over. But they'd never manage with the elephants. The conjurer said that he could make pieces of wood and stones balance for them to cross, but nobody thought that that would be safe. Everybody was suggesting things which they did in their circus acts. The stilt man wanted to make extra long stilts for everyone, but that wouldn't get trucks or equipment across. "What do you think we should do?" asked the ringmaster. "Well," said Mr. Benn, "you all work together to make a good circus. Well, I think you should all work together to make a good bridge." They all agreed. When the wood started to arrive, the ringmaster asked how they should build it. "If we build it on the side, we can make sure it's strong enough," said Mr. Benn. Then we can gradually slide it into place. But surely, said the ringmaster, it'll fall in the gap before it reaches the other side. Build the bridge longer than we need it. The extra will balance it. The bridge was started and gradually began to be pushed across the gap. It would be very useful to have someone on the other side to help it into place, said Mr. Benn. The circus cowboy, who did rope tricks, used his lasso. He threw it and fastened it onto the rock on the other side of the gap, pulled it tight and fixed it. The tightrope walker had no trouble in getting across. Then the trapeze artist went over as well. All this time, more wood was being brought, and the bridge went on growing and growing. The stilts man put on his longest stilts and stood down in the gap to help the bridge over. So the work went on building onto the road end of the bridge, and then everyone pushing the bridge further across. At last, it reached the other side. Everyone had played their part, and the bridge was a success. The first person to cross the bridge was Mr. Benn in his little car, still playing its tricks. Then came the whole circus procession. The trucks, the elephants, horses, everything. Once across the bridge, the procession continued happily to the next town, where they were going to put up the big top, the circus tent. The circus started with the Parade of the Stars. Mr. Benn, of course, drove his little car. The first act was a balancing act. Mr. Benn loved it when lots of things were balanced, one on top of the other. The second act was a magician who suddenly appeared. He looked very familiar, but Mr. Benn couldn't remember seeing him at the bridge. The magician made a ball disappear from under one box and appear under another. Then he held up a vase of flowers and made that completely vanish. Next, said the magician, I would like to make a real person vanish, and he asked for someone to help him. Mr. Benn drove into the ring. The audience laughed. The magician pointed to a large box. Step into there, sir, and you will vanish, he said. Mr. Benn stepped into the box. And just as he'd expected, he found that he'd stepped back into the changing room of the shop. He took a last look at himself in his clown's clothes and then changed back into his own things. Back in the shop, Mr. Benn returned the clothes. You're a good magician, he said to the shopkeeper. We can all do something, sir, smiled the man. Mr. Benn was about to go when he remembered he still had the red nose. I nearly forgot, he said. That's all right, sir, said the man. Perhaps you'd like to keep it. Thank you, said Mr. Benn. Back in Festive Road, everything was quiet with people going about their business. There was just one group of children balancing on stilts and laughing. At his door, Mr. Benn took the red nose from his pocket and thought of the shopkeeper. How kind, he thought. It's just what I needed to help me remember.
If you could stand on the planet where the Clangers live, and you looked up, you would see the stars. If you looked around, you would see some very peculiar stars. But in between these stars, you would see emptiness. Well, not quite emptiness, because there are things whizzing about. Rocks, bits of machinery, various odds and ends. Sometimes single things, sometimes in clouds. These are the sort of things that small Clanger is fishing for from his music boat. Mist. There's something. Got it. That looks to me like a teapot. But the Clangers may never have seen a teapot. Yes, it has got a long nose, just like Mother Clangers. A hat? No, I don't think it's a hat. No, definitely not a hat. A soup jug. Yes, well, that's not a bad idea. It's a bit big for a soup jug. It'll take rather a lot of soup. Here he comes, small Clanger and his travelling soup kitchen. Everybody must line up and he'll serve the soup. Now it's Mother Clanger's turn. Nothing in it. It's empty. No soup. There's plenty of soup in the pot. Blow through it? Well, I suppose it's the only thing to do. What a noise! And what a mess! He's going to do it again. Quite right. Take it outside. It's a noisy, messy thing. Sounds more like a trumpet than a teapot. Hey, listen. Is that an echo or something answering? Hey, look! Things in the sky. They're coming down. Look out, Clangers. Get below. How extraordinary. They must go below and tell the others what happened. Look out, he's going to blow through it. That was a silly thing to do. Here they come. Here comes Tiny Clanger to fetch more soup. The soup dragon's going to wonder what happened to all that soup. Tiny can tell her what happened, but I don't think the dragon will believe her. Oh, no, not again. Mind out, you silly dragon. Yes, she's not coming out from there until they get rid of all those nasty bangy things. Oh, Small and Tiny have thought of something. Notes from the music trees. Now, just what are they doing? Oh, that's good. That's a sort of helicopter. Very good. Up goes the teapot. and up go the Teapot's friends. There it goes. I suppose it was a teapot. Well, we shall never know.
Once upon a time, not so long ago, there was a little girl, and her name was Emily. And she had a shop. There it is. It was rather an unusual shop because it didn't sell anything. You see, everything in that shop window was a thing that somebody had once lost, and Emily had found, and brought home to Bagpuss. Emily's cat, Bagpuss. The most important, the most beautiful, the most magical, saggy old cloth cat in the whole wide world. Well now, one day Emily found a thing. And she brought it back to the shop and put it down in front of Bagpuss, who was in the shop window, fast asleep as usual. But then Emily said some magic words. Bagpuss, dear Bagpuss, old fat furry catpuss, wake up and look at this thing that I bring. Wake up, be bright, be golden and light. Bagpuss, oh hear what I sing. And Bagpuss was wide awake. And when Bagpuss wakes up, all his friends wake up too. The mice on the mouse organ woke up and stretched. Madeleine, the rag doll. Gabriel, the toad.
Oh, look, look.
And last of all, Professor Yaffle, who is a very distinguished old woodpecker. He climbed down off his bookend and went to see what it was that Emily had brought.
That is nothing but a rotten old bottle. There may be something inside it, but I can't see what it is because it's too dirty.
We will dust it, we will brush it, we will polish its top, top, top. We will wash it, we will splash it, bring a bucket and mop, mop, mop. We will dust it, we will brush it, we will polish its top, top, top. We will polish its top, top, top.
The mice scrubbed and polished the bottle until it shone. Then Professor Yaffle could see what was inside it.
Inside that bottle, there are some broken scraps of old wood and bits of cloth. I don't know why they're there.
So, of course, the only thing to do was to open the bottle.
Come on, little Charlie Mouse. Come on, everybody. Shove him in the pluggle hole. Push, push.
Madeleine the rag doll didn't like that.
Stop! Oh, stop, stop. You're hurting poor Charlie Mouse. Take him out at once. That's right. Now, all you have to do is turn the bottle upside down. Then the things will just fall out.
There are the things, look. Just a heap of scraps. Now I wonder what that lot was doing in a bottle. Nip, nip. That was once a ship. A ship in a bottle. Bagpuss was amazed.
A ship? In a bottle? There's what? I mean, what's it doing in a bottle? Where could it sail to? Who could possibly sail in it? It would be much too small.
Oh, I don't know. I've heard of some very small ships. I know of a ship that had mice for sailors. All right, all right. I saw a ship a-sailing on the sea, and over it was laden with pretty things for thee. There were comforts in the cabin and apples in the hold. The sails were made of silk and the masts were made of gold. The 24 sailors that stood between the decks were 24 white mice with chains around their necks. The captain was a duck with a packet on his back, and when the ship began to move, the captain said quack, quack. Quack, quack.
What a silly song.
No, it's not a silly song. It's a nice song. My sailor's song.
Well, I think it's a silly song. It doesn't even make sense.
Look, the mice have got an organ roll for it. Let's sing it again.
The marvelous mechanical mouse organ.
I saw a ship a-sailing on the sea, and over it was laden with pretty things for thee.
There were comfits in the cabin and apples in the hold. The sails were made of silk and the masts were made of gold.
The 24 sailors that stood between the decks were 24 white mice with chains around their necks. The captain was a duck with a packet on his back, and when the ship began to move, the captain said quack, quack. Quack, quack.
That's all very well. All that singing and dancing, yes, that's fun. But this ship is still broken. The pieces are just as they were, look. Now, what we need is a story. A magic story. A magic story that will put it together again. Bagpuss.
Huh?
Bagpuss, you must think of a magic story that will put little broken ships together again.
Oh. All right then. But I shall need a thinking cap.
Come on, let's go back. Come on, mice. Come on, the mice are thinking. Come on. There must be one somewhere. It must be here. Here's one. A captain's cap. Here's a Captain Bagpuss cap.
Oh, yes, my old sea captain's cap. Yes, I can think in that. Thank you.
So Bagpuss thought. He thought so hard, his thoughts appeared like magic.
Ah, yes. I remember a story. It all happened a long time ago, when I was a sea captain and sailed the 7 seas. I steered my stout 2-masted ship before the western breeze. One day, the breeze forgot to blow, The sea was still, the day was fine. Without a wind we could not go, so I fetched up my rod and line and settled down to fish. Yes, well, there was nothing else to do, you know. When the wind doesn't blow, the ship doesn't go. But I was Captain Bagpuss. I knew the thing to do. I tied a pearl to the end of the string and baited it with glue. That way I caught a mermaid. A pretty child was she. She sat on my lap in the boatswain's cap, and we all drank China tea. We talked for a while, and I said with a smile, "May I ask you a favour, dear, please? If I give you this pearl, will you be a good girl and send us a westerly breeze?" "Delighted," she cried, and jumped over the side, and she dived with a flick of her tail. But the breeze that she sent was not quite what we meant, for she sent us a terrible gale. The poor ship was tossed, and some pieces got lost, and the wind blew away our best sail. And then came a thump and a crash and a bump, just as if we'd tripped over a whale. It wasn't, of course, it was something far worse. We had hit this great island of rocks, and our ship was all smashed, and we were all dashed on the shore without any dry socks. The storm ended at last, and the mermaid came past, and she said she was ever so sorry, that it wasn't too tragic, she'd do some more magic, and we would have no need to worry. Then all of the mermaids, for miles all around, went diving and swimming until they had found every piece of our ship from the keel to the tip, and laid them all out in a heap on the ground. Then the mermaids began a most beautiful song, and the song they were singing was magic and strong. The effect was unusual but true, for the pieces of ship began to jump and to skip, and soon they were dancing and waltzing and prancing and twirling and whirling and squeaking and creaking and stringing and ringing and fitting together in time with the measure, till when it was ended, the whole thing was mended. The ship was as perfect as new. Did the magic work? There was the ship beside the bottle, quite perfect. It had been mended by Bagpuss's magic story. All they had to do now was put it back in its bottle, and the whole thing would be as good as the day it was made. Aye, just a minute. That ship's too tall. That would never go through the neck of that bottle.
No, too tall, too slow,
Yep. It's perfectly simple. Ships in bottles have folding masts. You fold the masts flat, and then, after the ship is in the bottle, you pull the masts up with a piece of cotton, which is part of the rigging. Oh, so that's how they put ships into bottles. What a clever old bird that woodpecker is. Of course. Now, come on, mice. Fold the masts carefully. That's right. Now, into the bottle with it. Good. Now, very gently, pull on the cotton. Gently. That's right. Now, all we need is a dab of glue on the front of the ship to fix the cotton. How are you going to do that?
Come on, Charlie Mason now. Come on, dip his toe in the glue. That's right.
Very good. Now put in the cork, and it's done.
Push.
And there it was, as good as new. The mice dragged the bottle to the front of the window and left it there, so that if the person it really belonged to should happen to come past, they would see it there and come in to collect it. And so their work was done. Bagpuss gave a big yawn and settled down to sleep. And of course, when Bagpuss goes to sleep, all his friends go to sleep too. The mice were ornaments on the mouse organ. Gabriel and Madeleine were just dolls. And Professor Yaffle was a carved wooden bookend in the shape of a woodpecker. Even Bagpuss himself, once he was asleep, was just an old, saggy cloth cat. Baggy and a bit loose at the seams. But Emily loved him.
Come on, lightning. Hello. There's no time for pleasantries, said Dougal. You're late. We've got a lot to do, and you're late. If you were in a union, I'd sack you. Now, pull yourself together and concentrate on the working hand. Really, you're pathetic. I'm going home. Oh, dear. Now I've hurt his feelings. Oh, come back. I apologize. Humbly? Yes, humbly. Then I shall return, said Brian. Well, I'm glad we've sorted that out, said Dougal. And he and Brian got down to the work in hand, making a film. Brian was the camera carrier. Now hold it steady, said Dougal. Freeze. Brian froze, and Dougal went to look for his star actress. She arrived. Hello, Dougal, said Florence. Oh, I'm so excited. Me, a film star. Hello, Brian. I am a camera, said Brian. Now, are we all ready? Said Dougal. We must get started. Aye, aye, Antonioni, said Brian. This is going to be the greatest picture ever made, said Dougal modestly. This will make Ben-Hur look like an advertisement for Turkish Delight. This will make Ken Russell spit with jealousy. Take one. And Dougal started to make his epic film. He consulted his script. He chose the best locations. What was it to be? Treasure Island, in Dougal vision. Florence acted her first scene, and Dylan arrived. I hear you're making a film, he said. I'm trying to, said Dougal patiently, but you've just walked in and ruined the first scene. Well, I don't want to worry you, said Dylan, but look. Indians? I didn't order Indians. Come out, said Florence. Wasn't I good? Said Ermintrude, appearing. Oh, joy, joy! I'm a film star! A film star! Dougal sighed. I wonder if this ever happened to Eisenstein, he thought. Let's get on, then, said Brian. Right, said Dougal. Underwater, close-up of shark. What? Shrieked Brian. Come back, you coward! I'm a film star! Film star! Camera! Shouted Dougal. I'm not filming no sharks, said Brian. Oh, all right, said Dougal. We'll have some man-eating butterflies instead. Really? Really? Hello? Where's my leading lady? I'm here, shouted Florence, and I've found the treasure. How exciting, breathed Florence. Captain Cook's treasure. Now, wait a minute, said Dougal. Wait a minute. What's the use of doing the treasure scene without the camera? Really? Why does everyone have to be so stupid? Knew that would happen, said Florence. I knew that would happen, said Dougal. What's in there, Dougal? Said Florence. Treasure, said Dougal. It was a large lump of sugar, and I'll trouble you all to keep your thieving hands off it. Zebedee arrived. Any room in your film for a little one? He asked. I've gone off the whole idea, said Dougal. I think I'll go to the pictures instead.
Mr. and Mrs. Brown first met Paddington on a railway station, which was how he came to have such an unusual name for a bear. They were waiting for their daughter Judy when Mr. Brown caught sight of him sitting on an old suitcase behind a pile of mail bags. As they drew near, he stood up and politely raised his hat. "Good afternoon," he said. "Can I help you?" Well, no, said Mr. Brown. We were wondering if we could help you. You're a very small bear, said Mrs. Brown. Where are you from? Darkest Peru, said the bear. I'm not really supposed to be here at all. I'm a stowaway. I came all the way in a lifeboat, and I ate marmalade. Bears like marmalade. I used to live with my Aunt Lucy, but she had to go into a home for retired bears, so I emigrated. Oh. Aunt Lucy always said she wanted me to emigrate when I was old enough, but now that I have, I'm not quite sure what to do next. As he bent down, the Browns caught sight of a label round his neck. It said, "Please look after this bear, thank you." It was the kind of label you couldn't possibly ignore, and in no time at all, things began to happen. Mrs. Brown thought of a name for him. Paddington. And while she went off to look for Judy, Mr. Brown was put in charge of ordering some refreshments. Paddington. Paddington. "Come along, Paddington," said Mr. Brown. "I expect you're hungry after your long journey." "I am," said Paddington. "Very." Paddington had never been taken out to tea before, and he was very excited. "I don't suppose there are many bears who've been inside a buffet, Mr. Brown," he exclaimed. No, said Mr. Brown. Especially one with buns. I think perhaps I'd better sit down. Yes, said Mr. Brown, trying hard to pretend that he had tea with a bear every day of his life. "Hello, Mrs. Brown," called Paddington as he caught sight of the others. "Don't go away. We're in here." "Watch out," shouted Mr. Brown. But he was too late. Paddington was already up to his knees in trouble. "Henry," cried Mrs. Brown, "what are you doing?" "What am I doing? Look at him. He's all covered in jam and cream. I've never seen such a mess. I don't know what the manageress will say." "Or the taxi driver," said Judy. "Taxi driver?" "Judy's right," said Mrs. Brown. "We can't leave him here, not in his present state." "Don't worry, Mrs. Brown," called Paddington. "I'll clear up the mess. Bears are good at clearing up messes." "Number 32 Windsor Gardens, please, as quickly as you can." "Not too quickly," called Mrs. Brown. "We've 2 more to come." "Is that one of them?" asked the driver. "He's covered in white stuff." "It's only cream," said Judy. "I dare say," said the driver. "But bears is 6 pence extra." "Sticky bears is 9 pence. 9 pence extra!" exclaimed Paddington hotly. He directed a hard stare at the driver. He seemed to go a funny shade of pink. "Gosh," said Judy, "how did you learn to do that?" "My Aunt Lucy taught me," said Paddington. "She said it might come in useful one day." "Mary," said Mr. Brown, "are you sure we're doing the right thing?" "That," said Mrs. Brown, "remains to be seen. I've never had a bear about the house before, but I have a feeling things may never be quite the same again."
It was springtime in the top left-hand corner of Wales. Time to clean out the dusty corners and time to wash small railway engines. Oh, what's that? Oh, the telephone. Answer it for me, would you, Bluebell? Oh, no, of course you can't. You're a donkey, aren't you? All right, I'm coming. Hello? Oh, hello, Di. Yes, just giving Ivor a wash. Yes, all right, I'll fill up his tank and we'll be up in a minute. Bye-bye. Right then, Ivor, we have work to do. Thank you, Bluebell. I'll have the bucket. We're off to Fanmade to fetch a new loom for Miss Plofsky, the weaving lady. Your tank is low, Ivor. We'd better fill it up. Hello? What have you stopped for? I've got to fill up your tank.
now look, Ivor, we have to go under the water tower to fill up your tank. Come on. No, Ivor, if every time I open the regulator, you slam on the brakes, we're going to get nowhere at all. And you'll very likely burst a feed pipe. So come on, under the water tower. Oh, Ivor, this is ridiculous. Di, listen, Ivor won't go under the water tower. Look, I haven't the slightest idea why. All I know is every time I open the regulator, he slams on the brakes. I mean, it's ridiculous. Oh, well, I wish you would. Oh, Bluebell, I don't know what's come over Ivor. Oh, you're off, are you? I don't seem to have any friends this morning. Oh, Di, there you are. Good morning, Miss Plofsky. I'm afraid our engine is being a bit difficult this morning.
Perhaps he has sadness. In my life there has been much sadness. Believe me, I, Olga Plofsky, I too have known great sadness, and I am your friend.
Well, I don't think it's anything quite that serious, Miss Plofsky. It's just he won't go under the water tower.
But Ivor is my friend. For me, he would go under Niagara Falls. Wouldn't you, Ivor? You see? Come, Ivor, I will lead you. Follow me, follow me.
Well, I'm afraid that isn't going to work, Miss Plofsky. As a matter of fact, one whistle like that means no.
Ivor, now listen to me. I am the station master. It is my duty to arrange the work. I have told Miss Plofsky here that you will go to Fanmade and fit her new loom. Now, will you kindly go under the water tower and fill up your tank?
Hello, everybody. What's going on?
There's Mrs. Porty. Well, she actually owns the railway, so if anybody can tell Ivor what to do, she can.
Mrs. Porty, perhaps you have some authority over this disobedient engine of yours. He refuses point blank to go under the water tower.
Oh, well, that's easily dealt with. Oscar, Aubrey, Lionel, you've had your holiday. Home time. Got you. Yes, you see, the water in the lily pond was black and dirty and full of all sorts of rubbish. Come on, Lionel. Home time. There we are. One has to be so careful with goldfish, you know. I had to put them somewhere. I knew you wouldn't mind.
Oh, no, we don't mind. Only, if you just told us, we might have got on a bit better.
Oh, Ivor knew, didn't you, Ivor? Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
You know, Di, I sometimes wonder just who does run this railway.
What does it matter, so long as we are all happy?
And that's quite enough from you, Ivor the engine.
Postman Pat and his black and white cat. Early in the morning, just as day is dawning, he picks up all the post bags in his van. Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat and his black and white cat. All the birds are singing and the day is just beginning. Pat feels he's a really happy man. Everybody knows his bright red van. All his friends will smile as he waves to greet them. Maybe you can never be sure. There'll be knock, ring, letters through your door. Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat, and his black and white cat. All the birds are singing, and the day is just beginning. Pat feels he's a really happy man. Pat feels he's a really happy man. Pat feels he's a really happy man.
Boom, 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 boom. What a lovely day, said Pat to Jess as they drove along the valley on a fine sunny morning. They came into the village and stopped at the post office as they did every day to collect the letters. Good morning, Pat called. Morning, Pat, said Mrs. Goggins. Looks like a busy day for you, lots of letters and parcels. Well, at least it's a nice day for it. That's odd, said Mrs. Goggins. Most of the post seems to be for Katie and Tom Pottage. Ah, but of course it's their birthday. Oh, so it is, said Pat. Won't they be excited when they see all these parcels? They are lucky. I remember when I was their age, waiting for the post. Hey, I'd better be on my way. They'll be looking out for me. Well, I'll be off. Goodbye. Boom, 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 boom. Pat was on his way. Before going to the Pottages, he had to call at the village school. Some of the children had arrived early and were playing in the schoolyard. Bill Thompson came running up to take care of the letters till the headmaster came. He always did that because he was the oldest. Oh dear, right in a puddle. Sarah and Lucy Selby asked Pat if he was good at hopscotch because they'd just had new lines painted in the yard. Well, it's a long time since I played, said Pat, but I'll have a go. Let's see now. He was quite good at it. Whoops! Pat was enjoying the hopscotch so much he almost forgot the time. Hey, I'll have to be going. We can't have the post being late, can we? Especially today. Bye-bye, Pat. Goodbye. Turned in at Greendale Farm. Katie and Tom saw him coming and ran to meet him. They were so excited they couldn't wait to see what Pat had brought them. They're twins, you see, so it was a double birthday. Pat wished them a happy birthday, then took a letter to their mother. Tom's present was just what he wanted. But Katie didn't seem very pleased with hers. What's up with Katie? Asked Pat. She's wrong side out today, said Mrs. Pottage. She's lost Sarah Ann. Sarah Ann? Is that the little doll she takes to school? She takes it everywhere. She's lost without it. I don't know what we'll do if it doesn't turn up. Oh, it's sure to turn up somewhere. Trouble is, it could be anywhere. We went to see Aunt Alice yesterday and called at lots of places. She could have left it anywhere. Don't worry, I'll look for Sarah Ann, said Pat. I might come across her. I'm good at finding things, you know. We'll get her smiling again, you'll see. Cheerio. Come on, Jess. We've work to do. The next stop was the church. The Reverend Timms heard Pat's van coming. There was a card from Cousin Joan on holiday in Mallorca. Pat told him about Katie's lost doll. Oh, she could have lost it in the church, said Reverend Timms. She always brings it. Ah, well, seek and thou shalt find. Let's have a look. Mind your head. Found anything? Called Pat. Oh! Yes, a bump on the head. At last the Reverend Timms did find something, but it wasn't Sarah Ann. It was a lady's glove. It had the letters D.T. sewn inside. D.T., said Pat. Dorothy Thompson, that's whose it is, I'm sure. I'll take it along for her. She will be pleased. Well, I hope Katie's doll turns up somewhere, said the Reverend Timms. We'll just keep on looking till it does, said Pat. Thanks for helping. Cheerio. When Pat and Jess arrived at Thompson Ground, Mrs. Thompson was out with a basket, collecting the eggs. She was surprised when Pat gave her a glove with her letters. Well, I never, she said. Where did you find this? I've been looking everywhere for it. Then Pat told her about Katie's doll. I was looking in the church for it. The Reverend Timms found your glove instead. Now, let me see. Katie and her mother came to tea yesterday. She could have left her doll under a cushion. We'd better have a look. They searched everywhere. Mrs. Thompson found something, but it wasn't a doll. It was a penknife. Hey, that looks like Ted Glenn's knife. Goodness knows when he left it here, said Mrs. Thompson. Would you take it along for him? He will be pleased to have it back. Yes, I'll take it. I do hope you find Katie's doll. We'll keep looking. See you tomorrow. Cheerio. Bye-bye, Pat. What a day, said Pat to Jess. We found a glove and a penknife, but no Sarah Ann. I wonder if there's any chance of finding her at Ted Glenn's. Ted Glenn was delighted to see his knife. He couldn't guess where Pat had found it. When Pat told him about Katie's lost doll, Ted said, "Hey, she was here yesterday with her mother. They brought a lamp to repair. So they went to look in Ted's workshop. They didn't find the doll, but Ted found a watch that he'd forgotten he had.
Enjoying yourself, Pat?
That's Miss Hubbard's, he said. She brought it to be mended ages ago. She must have forgotten all about it. Would you take it for a pat? Certainly. I'm going that way. I hope you find the lassie's doll, said Ted. So do I, said Pat. I seem to be able to find everything else. Bye, Ted. So long, then. Miss Hubbard was shopping at Sam's mobile shop, whilst Sam was enjoying a cup of tea. Miss Hubbard was surprised to see Pat, and even more surprised to see her watch. Pat told them all about Katie's lost doll, but they hadn't seen it. Poor Katie, said Pat, and on her birthday too. I know, I'll take her a box of chocolates. That'll cheer her up. Aha, Sarah Ann. So that's where you've been hiding all this time. It's Katie's doll, said Pat. I found her when I wasn't looking for her, sitting behind the chocolates. Sam was amazed. That child gets everywhere. I'll take the chocolates anyway, said Pat. They'll make a nice birthday present. Cheerio! Here she is, Jess. Keep an eye on her. When Pat arrived at the twins' party with Sarah Ann and the chocolates, Katie gave a big smile, the first that day. Jess joined in the party, and Pat had a piece of cake. Delicious, said Pat, but it's time we were off. Bye-bye, Pat. Bye. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good time.
Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat and his black and white cat.
Bum 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 bum, bidum dum diddly dum bum bum, brum bum bum, bum 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 bum.